We're back. Welcome to Chew on Something, where we chew on something for the taste buds
and the mind.
So
Excited to share our journey, our love of sisterhood,
our love of combo and great food.
Hey!
Thank you for everyone's compassion and kindness and all the beautiful messages that we received. Warmed our hearts so much. I didn't expect that outpouring of response, but we're so appreciative of it.
And I think a lot of times when you're sharing very it's very sensitive parts of your past, you'll never know how people will respond. But I think for us, the growing moment is not really caring about those outside factors and really just wanting to release our truth. And the response was so incredible. We just can't thank you enough.
I said it was overwhelming in the best possible way.
Yeah.
You know? So I want to do a special thanks for those who shared their own stories as well, because I know that's not the easiest thing to do, especially with someone that you don't know. So I appreciate those who did feel safe enough to share some of their stories with us. We've always been really comfortable talking about the childhood abuse, the physical abuse that we experienced as young children.
I mean, we opened up about it probably around like 4 years ago. We started talking about the physical abuse we experienced for over a decade.
We never publicly revealed the sexual abuse that we experienced as children. And let me tell y'all, this is something that I still get really emotional talking about. It's very difficult for me to still talk about the subject matter with close loved ones, with my sister. And there's very few people in our life that knew about the sexual abuse. You know, our father threatened to kill our mother and kill us if we told her or anyone. So you can only imagine how much that we love our mother, how good at a secret we were at keeping this abuse clandestine from her out of fear for her life, fear for our lives.
Right.
Father was very manipulative, but he also had, I like to think of him as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He had two sides to him, multiple sides, but two major ones.
Right.
One, he was very charismatic,
Very
fun,
charismatic.
Jovial side. If you met him, you would love him right away.
Everyone loved him.
Till you really got to know him. And then he had this other side that was just, was evil. And, you know, it was really confusing as two little kids to see this dichotomy between parents, right? Having this beautiful, absolutely incredible mother who was very loving and compassionate, and then having a father. And even the dichotomy within our father, who was he could be compassionate and fun and what seemed like loving. And then this other side that was completely, as you say, insidious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, all I knew, because
as a kid, that's what it seems like. He was a monster.
I mean, like, he wore a hat and glasses, and I knew when he took off his hat, this was a level degrees of abuse. And I'm not trying to laugh at it now, but
sometimes you gotta laugh.
Sometimes you gotta laugh. And, you know, when he took off those glasses, and that's when I knew that the physical abuse was going to be strong.
Yeah, so did I. Whenever I saw the glasses come off, because I knew he didn't want to break them.
Because that's how
abusing us.
Yeah, that's how vicious the abuse was.
And, you know, I had a really difficult time on my journeys, because it's still, as an adult, it's very painful to say these words, that my father tried to rape me when I was 9 or 10, and he didn't go through with it. I remember saying no. I mean, there was lots of times he said no during the abuse. This was one of the few times that he listened. But, you know, as an adult, I still get very emotional and tearful talking about this stuff. And I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to hide my emotions anymore, because I think that you start to hit some real problems in your life when you harbor those emotions internally. You don't find a positive release, positive activity, talk to someone, therapy, talking to the right person, because the wrong person can be just as much of a detriment to your journey of healing. as internalizing it and not really seeing it in a positive way. So I no longer feel embarrassed or ashamed, but I felt shame. Ooh, that shame.
Yeah.
Dirty little beast, that shame.
And then also, too, this was something that TK didn't reveal to me until about maybe like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
She first told me that our father tried to rape her. And when she told me that, like everything clicked.
Waterproof mascara and napkins. I told Cibrano those were the two things I need today. Because, I always wear mascara.
But, for me, when she told me that, that's when everything clicked. And though our father never tried to rape me, he did everything but. So there was no penetration. And I always used to think why he never took it that far. I used to think about that. I was like, well, why didn't he try to rape me? Because, he did everything but. And I think about maybe it had to do with something, the strength that TK showed when she was 9 or 10. And I'm not saying because that she said no, because this happens in so many cases.
There's strength regardless.
There's strength regardless, whatever the circumstances that happen after, during, how you get through it, how you get past it, how you healing through it. Like saying that because she showed that strength there, it may have had something to do with why he had never tried it with me.
Yeah.
And it also made me think why TK was in a different place of her healing journey than I was, because I forgave my father before TK started to forgive him in certain ways.
Yeah, it took me a lot longer to forgive him.
Right.
A lot longer.
Yeah.
But it was understandable why we had these feelings of hate for our father. The things that we went through with him, and the physical abuse of him, like hitting me upside the head with the butt of a gun.
Right. So when we talk about, physical, a lot of times you'll hear younger kids be like, "Oh my God, my parents will kill me.
If I do this.
My dad will kill me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my mama." No.
Yeah,
we straight up no.
Because we experienced life-threatening incidents with our father.
Yeah, I mean, he said that he would take our mother's life. He said he would take TK's life. He said he would take our life. And then he showed it as well. Right. So he had a gun. He would play Russian roulette. He hit TK over the head because
we refused to give him
the bullets.
He told us a week ago. I remember that week, like yesterday. It's like, oh, hide the bullets. Don't give them to me under any circumstances. Then he asked us for them before we head off to school. We refused to give it to him. He hits me upside the head with the gun. I say no. I said no again. He hit me upside the head again. And I thought I'd rather him hit me upside the head with this gun than have a bullet and shoot me. That's what I was thinking. Right. And then we had to go to school. Or beating us when we were very young. I remember this. He would beat us naked in a bathtub with a little water. With extension cord. And I always thought, why did he do it in a bathtub with a little bit of water? And I was like, oh, easy cleanup. I realized that when we were older.
And he would do it in their core because, we would have lacerations and cuts from that. And when he did those kinds of abuse, then, just to do it in the core of her body so it could hide it with clothing. And then tell her mom when she gets home, like, oh, you had a long day at work. Let me take care of everything. And then he would, get us dressed and stuff.
So no one would be able to tell. We're dealing with this abuse every day between mental, physical and sexual.
And then also dealing with bullying at school and then racism because we grew up in Maryland.
Yeah.
So it was constant every day for, over a decade.
As an adult, because I felt so much shame, one of the reasons why I was really reticent about talking about this subject, what we experienced, is because I had compassion for the young man and young boy our father used to be. I know that he went through his own trauma. I highly suspect that he was sexually abused himself. He was unable to break the cycle of trauma.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up in the streets of Philadelphia. He had to take care of himself.
He was homeless and at a very young age.
In and out of jail.
Prison, served time in prison. Eventually, he went to a psych ward. Well, get into that later. But I started to really think about forgiving our father, and we're going to head into a break soon. But we're going to jump into how we began the journey of forgiving our father and what that entailed. Because I know for me, I didn't think that I would ever forgive our father. I was like, not a chance in hell. But I did. And I knew that I needed to do it for myself, not for him.
I mean, because honestly, that's what forgiveness is. It has to start with yourself. It shouldn't start with anyone else.
Yeah. So speaking of ourselves, what we eating today, Soprana? What magic are you cooking for us?
So today on the menu.
Okay, let's break into this break so we can eat. Talking about eating healthy.
It's going to be...
I'm all about taking a break for food, y'all.
Yes.
So what we got here, Soprana? A plethora of ingredients.
Drink juices or extract the juice from the fruit. It's not protected by that fiber, so your body is exposed to all the sugar that's in fruit instead of having that extra layer of fiber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, I am...
Yeah, but is it going to taste good? Is it going to taste good?
It's going to taste good.
No, it's good to know. It's really informative.
Just my nutritional
She's a health
investigation.
Master. You know, she got real shape during COVID and stuff. Like, I ate, I enjoy food. I gained weight. Like, I gained a whole new chin. Like, hey, gained a whole new chin. I call her the colonizer.
She named it, y'all.
I named her the colonizer because she took over a territory on my body without my permission. Get out of here, colonizer. Get over here.
We both, eat a lot, but different foods. So kind of shows you, what happens with, your different habits.
Before or after. That's what she trying to say, y'all. Don't do me dirty like that, Soprana. I'm just saying that habits before or after. Okay, I get it.
I just think that we both eat a lot of food. So for me, it was about finding compromise.
That's what you say.
Okay, so we're gonna make. TK came up with a really cool name because we're making chickpea crostinis, but you said
crostini for chickpeas.
Yes, crostini for chickpeas. So that's what we're making. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, this is not going to be pretty, y'all. So if you're looking for something that's what's that show on Netflix? Chef's Table. Maybe eventually in the future it could be turning something, but right now.
We're not going to stuff flying everywhere, with our hair all over the kitchen.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, my version of Chef's Table is I actually kind of measured this out for y'all. So this is 1.5 banana, and it looks slimy like this. Out.
But eggs are high in cholesterol, aren't they? The yolks?
No, it's kind of dispelling old nutritional information where people were like, oh, it's high in cholesterol, but eggs are actually really good for you, especially for protein.
Oh, okay.
For people, again, that don't eat a lot of meat. I mean, this to me is still considered a substitute for meat. But yes, so I believe you. So if you're vegan, you can leave this out.
And this is another reason why we wanted to do these food breaks with you all, because we're from Maryland and we're all about our seafood, especially known for some good crab cakes. I always say that if someone says they have some Maryland crab cakes, I look at them and I say to the server, I say, well, I'm from Maryland, so how much crab is in the crab cake? Because some of these places,
how much filler did you put in?
They be patting it with filler. So it's at least got to be 90-something% crab for it to be a real crab cake.
If you want someone to judge the quality of your crab cake, get someone from Baltimore to do it.
Yes, get someone from Baltimore. You go to these places, they say Maryland crab cake. Yeah. Don't believe it. I tell you, don't believe it. In all my years, there's been very few places I had Maryland crab cake that wasn't in Maryland, and the crab cake was excellent.
And just to interrupt,
I'm going on a spiel. Wow. Nice little color.
Yeah.
Like
a puke green.
I was thinking more mint, like a mint green was more appeasing, but puke green works.
It's gonna taste the sprouts on top because sprouts are very good for your microbiome.
For your what?
For your gut. It's good for the
I thought you said good for the microphone. I was like, okay, you learn something new every day. Brussels sprouts good for the microphone. I was like, oh, the microphone gonna eat too. Okay. I love Brussels sprouts. Mm-hmm. Especially in tuna fish sandwiches. He made this for our mom, and mom's like, I was like, because I hadn't tried it, and she goes, "Are you gonna try Seagrass chickpea concoction?" I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "How is it?" And she said, "Oh, it's really good. Tastes like tuna fish."
That's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
It tastes like
That's
meat.
wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Like I said again, you can leave the eggs out and it will taste very similar.
Okay. It's easier. Trying to look, at least a little bit presentable eating on camera. Mm. 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 Mm.
It's gonna be the right.
Start calling you, put your foot in the sleep around.
But as I like to always say, not actually.
That's a calm mind. Start calling this show Sleep Around's Kitchen. I'll just be the sous chef. I just eat and provide whatever you need, you know? Support, love, you know?
That's a compliment because she's not being biased. If she doesn't like something, she'll let me know.
I sure will. The one thing we're not going to do in this wonderful sisterhood is lie to one another. Because a lot of people got too many yes people in their life, and I know enough no people and tell them, give them an honest opinion.
Yeah.
I want to be surrounded by yes people. I want to be surrounded by, girl, now you know today is not the day to be looking like that, you know?
It just made me think of a memory about certain men I dated in the past. And TK would take me to the side and she'd be like, look,
Like,
that's a no, but I love you. And then she'd be like, hey,
I remember specifically this one incident where we were younger. And she introduced me to this guy, and I was like, oh, nice to meet you. Super, I can't talk to you for a minute. And I was like, girl, I was like, this guy's, I don't like him. He's corny, but you know, okay. And I was like, nice to meet you.
She always gives me her honest opinion, and I do the same for her.
She sure does. She sure does. So that's the type of relationship we have.
Yes.
Well, you know, so jumping back into this idea of forgiveness, I know that we have different journeys forgiving our father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a very difficult time because I was very angry and infuriated with our father. More than words can say. It was very tough for me to forgive our father, especially when I was younger. And I stopped thinking about forgiveness in these terms of whether he deserved to be forgiven, because I said, oh no, I'm not going to forgive him for what he did. He doesn't deserve to be forgiven. He hasn't taken accountability. He hasn't said he was sorry, acted like, you know, nothing ever happened. And I said, oh, he doesn't deserve it. And then I started to think about forgiveness in the way of, well, forgiveness for me and for us meant about letting go of all that anger that we have for him. So I deserve to let go of that anger, because it wasn't about letting go of the anger I had for him. It was about letting go of this anger I had within me for anything or anyone. I didn't want to possess that anger. So forgiving him had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with me. I deserved to forgive him because I deserved to let go of all this anger and hate that I had towards him.
I felt so ashamed. I was so ashamed. I was so disgusted at myself. So not only was I angry at him, I was angry at myself. And if I could just show that little girl, that teenager, that you had nothing to be ashamed of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I realized there was nothing left in me to give anymore. I was tired of feeling so heavy and consumed with all this anger and, all this anger of not be thinking that I could do more, thinking that I could have did this, I could have did that. And we did what we had to do to survive. And that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So if anyone they're going through addictions right now, if you're going through an addiction, if you're a drug addict, you're a sugar addict, you're a sex addict, you're a gambling addict, you're a shopping addict, whatever your addiction is, just know that in this moment, you are here today, you're alive, and you survived. And tomorrow, or even if you see this right after this episode, is the chance to change your life around. It is never too late. Never.
I never say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. What's wrong today? What's wrong today? And look, sis, I really commend you on going there with the sexual abuse and expressing those feelings, because I can say honestly, I'm not comfortable talking about those emotions that I had when we were being sexually abused. At least not right now, and I applaud you for being comfortable to express that, because it's not easy. And I think it's really brave of you to talk about this side, because people who haven't been sexually abused will be really confused. Like, huh?
Yeah.
What? And they just won't understand it. But those who have been through it will completely understand what Superman just talked about. Dealing with all this abuse, like every day right before school, go to school, nothing happened. No one could tell anything happened.
No.
And then come back and deal with the same abuse as well.
And to live in fear as well every day, coupled on top of all that physical and sexual abuse, mental abuse, and the fear. We can do another episode on that.
Yeah, it was petrified.
Talking about fear.
Having this great trepidation for our father. And I remember, like I said, when we were early 20s, I was so angry at our father that I thought, I was pretty adamant. I thought that I would never forgive our father. Thought I would never forgive him. There wasn't a aha moment for me. I just knew that I was just exhausted by feeling so angry at him all the time. And like I said, we never took it out on anyone. But
take it out on ourselves.
On ourselves.
We did, yeah.
Or if someone was rude or something, like we took it to another level to put them in their place. But I was just completely exhausted by it.
Well, I know for me, I think, and also TK as well, when I really began to understand why people, when that expression, when they say hurt people, that's facts. Because when you understand about a person's past, that made me feel more compassionate to our father, because I thought, despite all that pain and trauma he went through, look at the man that he became, because he did survive all those things that had happened to him in his past. And he was able to help raise 2 women that would break that generational cycle of abuse.
Right. And we always said this about our father, that I say I highly suspect that he might have been sexually abused. I'm not going to say I know it, because I don't. But I know that he had a very traumatic childhood growing up, and obviously that doesn't excuse any of the heinous things that he did,
because a lot of people go through very abusive and traumatic, like for us,
and
if we were to have children,
and don't continue that cycle of abuse. But it's like I had those feelings, not telling you like, oh, I'm really not comfortable saying, but I'll say it every day of our lives. I would pray, and I would pray God would take our father away from us. I would pray that he would die, because I just wanted it to be you, our mom, and me. I just wanted it to be 3 of us. We were in so much pain. And I also have guilt for not being able to protect you, because I knew you were going through the same thing. And not being like telling someone so it could stop the abuse. It's the most painful thing to see someone that you love more than anything in the world being abused. And I would say that I would take all the abuse in the world if it meant that you didn't get to have any. That's how I felt as a kid. That's how I feel now as an adult.
Maybe like take us out of this episode. TK had like a really great quote you wanted to read.
I did.
And I have my open letter.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did have your book. Okay, because you talked about like forgiveness for yourself. So Sidney Poitier had this great quote that said, "I've learned that I must find positive outlets for anger or it will destroy me. There is a certain anger. It reaches such intensity that to express it fully would require homicidal rage, self-destructive, destroy the world rage. And its flame burns because the world is so unjust. I have to try to find a way to channel that anger to the positive, and the highest positive is forgiveness."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We love Sidney Poitier.
I don't think that needs any elucidation.
I know.
Go on, sis.
I just actually had wanted to take us out. I had wrote an open letter to our father a couple of years ago. I reshared it this past Father's Day as well. And like we said, I don't want to see my father ever again. For me, I felt this was something that I felt very comfortable in sharing with them. So if he ever sees it or hears it, I wanted him to know the two women that he helped raise. And so this was my open letter that I wrote to our father. I said, "In a world where you didn't have the privilege to experience your childhood, pushed towards manhood at a young age no child should endure, to be consumed and misused by a legal system that dictated a fate that would try to make it impossible for you to prevail. Nevertheless, you survived. To be criminalized of your mistakes as a boy instead of a chance to find rectification in your future as a man. To live and grow in a world that did not value your worth as a Black man, so in return you did not value your own. To a man, despite all these obstacles, managed to endure and raise two girls that eventually would be the women to break the multi-generational cycle of abuse. Break the multi-generational cycle of abuse that you could not overcome. You are one of the most intelligent men I have ever known, a prodigy in engineering, math, and music, a voice of the likes of Marvin Gaye and Otis Redding, a comedian that could have sold out nationwide tours, natural skills of a prolific pianist, and a heart that at times was fighting to reveal the man you were meant to be. But in the end, you let the past define you, succumbing to hate that consumed your ability to truly love wholeheartedly. You taught me to see the joy in reading and that education was worth more than gold. You taught me my sister's love should never be taken for granted and that anything was possible if we believed in ourselves, followed by action. You taught us to always ask questions if we did not understand the answer or are uncertain of the authenticity. You taught us to never judge a book by its cover, for it was almost never how it seems. You taught us to treat others with respect, not by the position of their profession, but by the position of their hearts. You taught us others may underestimate our value, but never to underestimate ourselves. But most importantly, on this Father's Day, I can say you taught us to be strong, to let no one physically or mentally abuse us. While there was hypocrisy, sorry.
Oh, apologize, sis. That was beautiful.
While there was hypocrisy in your teachings, you unconsciously were building the strength in us to eventually let go of the one man who would abuse and hurt us the most, you. Therefore, for our Black and bruised bodies, you strategically covered up so carefully, never striking us in the face to disguise the abuse you inflicted. I forgive you. For each act that violated what a father and daughter relationship should be, I forgive you. For perpetuating your self-hate onto us, I forgive you. For not being able to truly love others because you did not love yourself, I forgive you. For each unkind word, each unkind gesture, each unkind touch, I forgive you. For filling my life with so much terror and darkness that the only way I thought I could escape was to take my own life in this, I forgive you. Though you hurt us, though you lost our trust, though I never wish to see or speak to you again, for these are the consequences of your actions, I hope you know without you, I would not be the woman I am today, and for that, I will be forever grateful.
Oh, sis. Oh, sis. That was beautiful.
Okay.
Wow. That was beautiful. Well, I felt like I should have wrote something. Oh my God.
TK's a writer. She's
Obviously, she got it too. See, Brown, so beautiful. We gotta have some sort of crying limit. You know? It's like you cried twice during this episode, so you've reached your crying limit. But you know, that's what we talked about, like not being afraid to express those emotions. Right. And I can't tell you how beautiful that is. You know, and you know, I guess we can end this off by saying that I'm really proud of the way you've grown in your journey of healing. I still got some healing to do. You know, my open letter would be, I forgive you, I want to see you again. You know? That's my open letter. But
that's completely fine.
Right, no, I'm just teasing. But, you know, in all seriousness, that was really incredibly, breathtakingly beautiful. And, you know, all the words that you said are words that I've felt. But I also think that you're on a different level of forgiveness than I am as well. I'm kind of like, I forgive you, but yeah, I don't want to see your ass again, you know? And I feel like you're on this really loving place of forgiveness. Like, I forgive you.
But I mean, I don't want to see him either. Right. So.
All right, so we in agreement. We agree on that.
But you're where, like, the journey that you're on, even though we have our separate places of healing, we're onto it together and we can help each other.
Yes.
That's how we've always been.
That's how we do.
Yeah.
That's how we do in the family.
That's how we do in the 410.
Hey,
is that the B-More?
Yeah, B-More 410.
Yeah, 410.
I got codes, only one code.
I got codes in 410 area code. Look, I'm not the lyricist. TK is.
But yeah, that was really beautiful.
Thank you, Sam.
So I guess we should end this off by saying, if you have any questions for us,
yes,
or you have topic ideas,
great topic
that
ideas
you want us to talk about, we're very open to suggestions.
Yes,
I mean, we got a whole list, but we'll add to it.
Yeah,
we'll credit you,
and please keep the questions coming.
We love questions.
Well,
but
depending
not all questions. Please just don't make them all about our hair, please. We love a plethora of different things.
Yes.
Please. But thank you so much for tuning in and embarking with us on this new journey.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
And we'll see you next time on
Chew on Something.